effort. All right, thank you. I guess I should say I'm realizing how hard it is to get stuff out in a timely manner, but I did hopefully got the material, the document based on the select board policies and procedures document out in time for folks to look at. I'm doing a little better each time. so
Yep.
Anyway, so I guess I would like to go ahead and um, begin discussion on that. I know it's just going to be the two of us. We can talk about other things if I'll defer to the other members present if we want to wait and give Tony and Mr. Matreska some time to join us. Although this isn't going to be the first time we're going to look at this document or
Right.
the text that we have. So anyway, so if there aren't other thoughts, we can go ahead and start taking a look at the document itself. As I indicated, I had first started, with using some blue text, and I was like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? And when we have track changes feature and the notes feature, and so now I know that as some folks aren't using Microsoft Word, there may be some um, challenges with that.
Mhm.
But if not, then we can go ahead and do that. So okay, but all right. Sorry, I don't multitask well. I'm trying to open the document.
I was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm
So
also looking for the document.
yeah. So I did send it to you. So
Yeah.
you do. Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, I was just looking for the email so I could open it up on here. I have it printed in front of me also.
Okay. But we'll digress just one moment. So the legal opinion request, I know that I didn't get to you until Tuesday because I had some internet accessibility problems. But
I'm not gonna get that out for you tomorrow. I had it on my list of things to do to get out, but it just I never made it onto my computer.
well, not a problem. Jane had actually done a follow-up with me with whether I had gotten that out yet. And again, as I said in my email to you, Mike, if there's some things you want to put a little less strongly or revise, change, that's fine. It's just over to you for that. And if it's great, it's set up for you to sign. Pretty much, I hadn't drafted a business letter in a long time. So anyway. Okay. All right. So what we have to do is this. All right. Okay. So we'll go ahead and anyway, so I was surprised it was as long as it is, although there's a large portion of the table of contents that
Yep.
will be eliminated, so the page count will go down somewhat. I thought I'm in North Carolina right now. I thought during my flight out here I would what I started doing on a separate document, the working document I'd sent out, for the 2 weeks ago meeting. I just wanted to kind of cross check to say, okay, this item is covered on this section and page, and I just didn't get beyond the first item or two in there. So anyway, so I think I'm just going to say we just kind of roll top to bottom, unless you have some specific comments or questions, Mike, and we can go ahead and go over those.
No, I scrolled through it when you sent it the other day to kind of give a quick read on it, and like you said, the table of content is probably going to shorten by 2 pages at least, if not more, maybe 3. There was
Yep.
still, some, things in there that were referencing select board, so they just need to be updated to planning board. And then obviously inserting, some more of the descriptions, right? Some things were still lined out in certain areas, so we just got to clean those up. So all in all, that document's probably still, going to be in the 20s, which isn't too bad.
Yeah. So, okay, and first case in point on that item that you just highlighted is in the powers and duties, and so
Right.
we have it. We're aware of it. I just did not get to pull it in. It was pulled in one of the documents from a couple years ago when I first initiated this, and so we will just copy those in. But I didn't want the select board ones here to bog things down, so I went ahead and line those out. So that's a clear go do that we need to do. Reorganization. I kept the section. I kept the select board text, and then I added this section 112. I added 111 as well, just because we had 2 items up below it, just talking about extraordinary reorganization.
Yep.
And highlighted that. The next item is the and yeah, when I registered Microsoft, at the time I had a work computer that I was allowed to use for personal use. So I set it up in my wife's name, and now it's perpetually that. So anything that's marked as Susan Robertson is mine.
Figured as such.
Anyway, so 1.2 and then sub bullet 3 in terms of the duties of the officers. I did have a comment on reviewing as a group. The issue about the secretary shall announce all agenda items. That's fine. And then sign any relevant documentation that's been approved by the majority vote of the board. That whole phrase there between the commas, we probably need to take a look at. Historically, we sign everything, and so we can make that that's not a duty of the officers. We can include that elsewhere. I don't see any harm in keeping it in, but I think that I prefer our practice, which has been to have all those that are present at the meeting to in person to sign the documents and
Yes.
and the decisions. So anyway, so we can make sure that statement is included in the future, but I just wasn't sure if everyone had the same kind of line of thought on
So
that part of that statement.
the one thing is that at after like the next day when we stamp in the decision with the clerk, it asks for like the name of somebody. And generally we've been like having them put whoever is the chair. But to me, this says that it's supposed to be the secretary whose name goes on that. But the secretary is not signing it. It may not be this. The secretary doesn't sign it. It's just the secretary's name or goes on it when the clerk signs it.
Right. So maybe what we'll need to do is okay. Well, yeah. So any thoughts? Yeah. Do you want to try a stab at rewording this then, or under the chair's thing, we can put a note that the chair will be highlighted and as the point of contact or as the authority for decisions when submitted to the clerk.
I mean, it adds a. I don't know that we need it. Honestly, now like reading it again, it's wordy and it's wordy and vague, which is probably on purpose, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know that it's necessary, but I don't know that it's bad to have, I guess. It is long and it makes all of the duties of the secretary look like it outstrips the duties of the other two, but that's not, obviously not how it generally works.
Does Ed come in to sign things regularly?
No. I guess, I mean, so I could see, like, if you were sending a letter from the board to a state agency, maybe it would come from the secretary, but also, why wouldn't it come from the chair?
Hmm.
But
Sign any relevant documents that's been approved by the majority vote. Sign on the board's behalf. All correspondence relating to.
Okay. I
Mhm.
just put in here that the chair shall be identified as the point of contact or authority on all formal decisions submitted by the planning department to the town clerk.
okay.
And yeah, because they handle all correspondence related to the work of the board. Um, unless the chair is designated the member, including himself or herself. And some of this goes without being said. And so we can even if we strike out the blue text, or I mean the highlighted text for the note, um, that makes it a little bit smaller. Um, we also have the last sentence in black before the comment in red about minutes. Secretary shall be responsible to ensure minutes are recorded, maintained, and released in a timely fashion. Um, do we really have the secretary do that, or is that normally the planning staff do that, right?
So the staff generates the minutes, distributes it obviously to all of us for review, then we approve it at the next meeting. Marlies, while she was secretary last year, was very on top of asking about minutes. When will they be done? We had a lot of meetings last year, so minutes kind of did lag behind.
Mm-hmm.
And we were short staffed for a while, so things kind of did get out of sorts for a little bit, but Jane has righted the ship, and I think we're pretty much caught up, other than maybe like one special meeting or something like that at this point.
All of those old ones are taken care of. It's just the
Yep.
catching up on the last couple months.
Right, right, exactly. So that's what I mean. You're in good shape now. I think it's
Yeah.
just like last month and maybe a previous special meeting that we had that we
Yeah.
might, it's not like a lot. So, but the secretary, I would like the secretary. I think that the secretary should follow up on minutes. It is kind
Okay.
of in their duties, right?
Well, right. I mean, that's part of what this task is to clarify some of that, and but I think that it's followed that up, but it's that parenthetical statement that I have, and it doesn't have to be parenthetical, but the fact that the minutes are normally generated by the planning department staff and provided for review.
Yep.
For the board's review. Um, but again, that I have it parenthetically because I'm trying to clarify, if there's an inference that the elected secretary is responsible for generating the minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that sentence being added to the paragraph, to
Okay.
understand that it's not the secretary's job to go back and listen to the, recordings and put together the, cliff notes of the meeting.
Okay, I have added another note here that we need to look to trim down the secretary section,
Mhm.
and we'll just leave that in the in those general terms.
Yep.
And do it. Okay, so the meetings, the standing rules, we don't meet the first and third, so we'll get the standard, although, right now, the Tuesdays are almost becoming the standard more than Mondays. So, for us, but we'll come up with the appropriate language to make that work. I did
I
add
think
a comment. Oh, go ahead.
I think it actually in whether it's the charter or wherever I think it actually states the second Monday of every month. Because the select board is the first Monday and the third Monday, I think we got the second Monday. I'm not sure what the school committees, the way theirs is written. There's a lot of there is terminology about that in I think the charter.
Okay. All right. I did think that the vacation notification comment was good, and is worth keeping, but I'm not hard fast set on it. And I added that not just let the secretary know, but the planning department staff or planning department. And then I added about the fact that we we historically have generated a calendar of meetings, that we approve in December, and and that is posted in the clerk's office. So I thought that was, again, this document is quite long, and so if we're worried about people getting lost in the details, we can look at further editing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense to just get everything down on paper, and then kind of trim from there.
Yeah.
So I think,
All right. Very good.
Sorry.
Okay, and then special meetings, just talked about that. I made a couple edits because but you can see those using the track changes function. Again, town manager very rarely participates. I think Mr. Curran participated in 2 or 3 meetings, by Zoom, never in person. And anyway, so I deleted the town manager. Again, I think that's more from the select board perspective. And then they talk about recordings of meetings, and I just went ahead and thought it was best as we'd refer to the townwide practice that we have, or their policy.
Hey, Blake,
Okay.
Blake,
Yes.
since I just joined, can you tell me which document you're looking at?
We're looking at the one I sent out late Monday evening. So this is the Billerica Planning Board Policies and Procedures initial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And anyway.
Multiple meetings tonight.
Yeah. We're jumping. So we just at 2.2 procedures. We just took a look at the edits that were there. Basically, are in line with what's there. I think we're gonna. There was a comment that was highlighted that the chair typically is identified as the focal point for formal decisions that are submitted by the planning department to the clerk, and so that was added to under the chair's responsibility. There was a comment about a valid comment about the fact that the secretary text is so long, it looks like their roles and responsibilities are more important than the chair, and that of course is not true. So we're going to look at trying trimming that down. And then board meetings, pretty much just talked about it's second Monday, and we'll pull the reference in as appropriate from the charter or whatever.
I'm not finding it, Blake. I was just pulling those up.
Okay. Yeah, in my response to the comment, I have, per charter question mark. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the intent is that, I'm not saying that we're more important than the select board, but the idea is we're competing and, for limited resources, from BATV, et cetera. And we don't want to have conflicts with participation. And so deconflicting is valid, so that it all makes sense. Okay, so 2.2 procedures. I did make some notes. Normally the clerk doesn't do the attendance. The chair does, but anyway, so you can see the notes. I did highlight 2.2 sub bullet 3. The minutes must be taken of all meetings, which include date, time, place, etc. And we do have the next section deals with minutes, and so I don't know if it's worth stating things twice, as we have a pretty lengthy document that we're dealing with.
Well, this is the procedure on, I guess, how the minutes are done and then how they're approved by our board, not necessarily who wrote them or who's following up with them, right?
But we don't usually discuss minutes first.
Yeah.
Right, which further down, I think it talks about, I think you had something in here about an agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it. It's
2.6.
there we go. Okay. Yeah, that was the format, but I think that yeah, maybe that was one I was thinking about when I went back to edit that item. So I don't mind keeping it in. It just seemed duplicative, and if we were looking for something to trim, that's fine. And but leaving it there is fine as well. All right. So Tony, what we're doing is just kind of, if someone has any comments or concerns with anything that's added, then we'll highlight those. That the thought was that we just kind of walk our way through the document, and then well, I didn't say this
Yep.
part, but when our hour is up, we'll probably call it quits unless we just want to trudge on through a little bit longer.
Okay. I don't have any procedure part. I don't have a problem with this at all. It's pretty standard chairman, secretary type things. I've been on multiple committees and it's fairly common what the role is. Honestly, I'm more used to the secretary calling the roll call than the chairman on most of the
Okay.
committees I've been on. So I'm not going to quiver over something like that.
Well, we can say the secretary or the chairman,
Yeah.
and that's fine. That's great. It's a good put. So we can, um, anyway, I'll try and remember and add that. So, um, okay. So, oh, there it is. Oops. Okay, what I'm doing is, this is normally do my roll call, and I'm just going to say, and can be conducted by the secretary. In terms of the role, taking the role. Okay, I did have a number of edits on section 7. Chair will allow the sponsor of the agenda item or their agent, normally we have legal counsel do that, to present subject matter and recommend the action requested. This is purely my perspective, so I don't want to overstate things, but personally, I really like it when the advocate personally, and they come, and I appreciate it, but I would love to hear them talk in their own words before they turn it over to their legal counsel to say, hey, this is what we're doing. Here's who I am. And then allow the attorneys to take that over. So I think a lot of folks are intimidated. And so this is a step, from my point, I think, to enhance the process. And I think in large point, we are, we need to make things somewhat friendly. I'm sorry, I realize I'm not holding my phone, and so you're looking at the ceiling.
I liked
Okay.
it. It was good. It was a different view. I liked it.
Yeah, well, never mind. I was going to say something terrible about our wandering board member, but anyway. So, um, uh, but to be advocates and to be a friendly place where folks can come and not feel intimidated. I really like the proponent for, I think it's 489 Boston Road, and their desire to come in and how they're passionately advocating for this coffee shop that they want to put on the ground floor of their structure. And folks shouldn't feel that they have to have legal counsel to come here. I mean, it's smart to get some help.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that's kind of driving some of this thought. So I'm not hard over on it, but I have a personal preference, and so I changed it from saying the word it prefers, that we appreciate, and then I had the dash prefers. So if one has and again, the whole board will have to take a look at some of these things and decide whether
Right.
what they want to support. But that was why I added that. Now that's in parenthetical because it's my own personal thought, but I would it'd be great to have something along that line in there for future.
Yep. I don't disagree. I appreciate when the people come and discuss their project. Like you said, even if it's just them introducing themselves, the project, and then they turn around and say, and then this is my team. And they're gonna bring, the information of bring you guys the details of the project.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree on that.
I kind of like what Mike said. I just, um, I, I'm a little leery on the prefers part, only because some of this stuff can be very legal, very technical, and we don't want the applicant to say the wrong word because he's just not schooled in this. And that is why he does hire an attorney or some type of counsel for him. We don't want to take that away, but like to your point, it is kind of nice to hear the applicant, come up and say, hey, this is who I am, and in their own words, what they're looking for, but we don't want him to get himself in trouble because he uses the wrong term. So
Yeah.
So we can definitely get rid of the stronger prefers word and just leave it at that. The board is appreciative when the sponsor advocates for their item, even if they only introduce their
Yep.
agent.
Okay, perfect. Yep, I made that change. And I took away the parentheses on it. So okay. Number 9 was the next edit there, and it was just where I added, particularly for agenda items that are subject to an open public hearing. So this is where we get into some differences in the rule sets that need to be followed. And so because we do have some meetings that we don't have, it's not a public hearing, and therefore then we don't seek the public comment.
Yep.
So it was supposed to be a clarification there. Executive session. Okay. Yes, we can do it. And then the items that were there from the select board 1 through 8 really didn't pertain to us. Number 9 did to meet or confer with a mediator or respect any litigation. Not sure we've ever had to deal with a mediator, but we do have litigation. And so I didn't want to exclude the mediator if we have to have that. And then I added a second one dealing with status updates for ongoing litigation. And this is one that I'm sure will prompt some conversation. But when we have ongoing litigation, I think that we should have, every other month, maybe quarterly might be better, that we have an update of some sort. And so if it's in our policy, then folks understand that we're going into executive session. We follow the rules, but I think that it's a reasonable expectation that that we have regular status provide to us on those things.
Is this a place for that, or is there going to, do we have another spot that could be a?
This from where we are so far, the select board, delineated all the different items when they should and needed to, and so, it made sense to me that this was the right place to have it.
So, Blake, question on, is that under the under the MGL that the title is citing?
That is a yes. I do not know. I did not look at that.
Okay.
But I'm highlighting that right now and making a note. Because I'm typing, you get to look at the ceiling, and
I like the ceiling. Blake, don't take this the wrong way. I like the ceiling.
so this is this for the okay. We're gonna digress a little bit. So my brother, I'm here at my brother's house in North Carolina, and he and his family just moved in December. But this is a 150-year-old home. He bought essentially a town. It has a grist mill, a feed mill, and then a dozen outbuildings, including this house. And then there was a mill keeper's house as well. He's expanded the house to accommodate his family, and so what this is these are some beams that he had put in that are similar of the construct in the mill, the old
Nice.
mill itself. And anyway, so but my other brother, and Reed and my dad have spent 5 years coming here once a year for a week to come and do work, and so this may be the last time we all come together to do it. I've come last year, and then I've come this year. We're working on a deck on the outside now, but
Nice.
but the family moved in a little after December, and so anyway, so that's what you're looking at.
Nice.
So I digress. So, yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, maybe it says, and shall be provided at a minimum every other month until litigation is resolved. Maybe like you said, once a quarter. Maybe that's, these things don't seem to resolve themselves very fast,
Yeah. So I'm fine with that. Tony, you get a thought?
No, because it's minimum, so that means if we need to meet more, we would. So
Okay, so I
that's
just
fine.
changed that to at a minimum quarterly until litigation is resolved.
Yep.
As
Okay.
long as the minimum pot is there, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Very good. Anyway, and the rest is just an executive session kind of procedures and how it works. That's fine. Conduct of meetings. The only thing I added, it talks about visitors may be permitted to speak on a matter properly on the agenda before the board, but only after each member of the board who so desires has spoken. There've been a number of times when board has asked that we have the public speak first, and then we speak. So I just added that in a parenthetical.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, leave it in parenthetical, or
No, you can, I think you can, so we've definitely had times where we want to, hear the people,
Yep.
and this is a guide for the future, and there's always, not the agenda isn't always taken exactly the way it's shown. Sometimes there is somebody could be like, hey, can you guys move me up? I can't be here past 8 o'clock, and we
Right.
make that motion and we move somebody up in the agenda. So I think even that with the people speaking on agenda items, I think is also, you know, kind of a feeling on the particular item that we're discussing, right? Some draw in more people, some most don't care, right?
Yeah, sadly. Okay. Good comments. Okay, so 2.5.
Hold on a
Okay,
sec,
so
Mike. Hold on one sec,
go ahead.
Mike, on 2.4.
Yep.
Because I was just reading, there's a section there that says visitors should refrain from talking on cell phones during any board meeting. So this just kind of reminded me of, while people are allowed to record the meeting, I believe they are required to notify the chairman first if they're going to be recording, so the chairman can make an announcement to the body.
No, I know that's been a practice in um, some of the committees and boards in town. Maybe we just revise that whole line to say, use or we can add to it. I was just thinking that use
No,
of cell phones, um, for recording or other purposes, shall be coordinated with or
you
approval
got to be
secured from
careful
the
because
chair.
I think that became a court case where I think they can record, but they have to be notified.
Yeah.
That's why
Okay. So if I can ask you, well, I can try and type something up right now if we want. That's fine.
I can look into see if I can find that court case so we
or whatever, yeah, whatever the decision was, it may be part of open meeting law regular new rules now. So, because I seem to recall this when I was on the finance committee that we had to do this.
Right. So I'm just thinking that with the formal requirement to record public meetings, does that make that need invalid, or does it further support
Well,
someone recording it?
people shouldn't be talking. I mean, I think out of respect, they should at least have the phone on vibrate, and they shouldn't be talking, on their cell phone in the middle of the meeting. I mean, but but then they are allowed to record, so you can't say they have to shut it off. Because we had this, Blake, I don't know if you were on the FinCom at the time, but when the CPA was going through, we had some people making a big stink out of this.
Okay.
So
So we do have a
that's why
section 12 that's recording policy for public meetings. I don't know if that would be a better place to put, it ends at 12.4, maybe 12.5 is resident recording, and just put a line, and it can just say right now, Jane's checking with, court case, open meeting law, and it's just a
okay.
placeholder.
Yeah. I mean, we can do
Yeah.
that for now.
I guess what I'm thinking about is and because I don't think it's highlighted in the policy that was approved at town meeting. I'm just wondering about visitors refrain from using their cell phones during a board meeting. With the exception of use of cell phones to record a meeting. You know. With notice to the chair, something like that.
Yep. So, okay, so I see what you're saying. Add on to that sentence by saying refrain from talking on their cell phones during the board meeting, but can use your cell phone for recording of the
Record.
meeting with notification of the chair. Something of that.
Yeah.
Such.
Okay, yeah, so I just have a board member. Okay, however, use of cell phones to record a meeting is permitted with notice of the chair.
Guys, I'm just gonna step out real quick, let my dog out real quick.
Sure, yeah. Okay, one other comment I had was up a little bit from that. Petitioners will be limited to 10-minute presentation unless permission to speak for a longer period is requested and granted by a majority of the board. 10 minutes sounds reasonable to me. For presentations, we have had a number of other presentations that have been made that have been significantly longer. So anyway, I don't know if we're worried about that or not, but
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because I could see like a bigger project coming in, which they would need more time, right? Especially on their first presentation.
yeah. Well, right. So maybe we
As
say in general, petitioners will be limited to 10-minute presentation.
And I wonder if we instead of the majority, and instead of leaving that up to the majority of the board, do we leave it up to the chairman to determine?
Yeah.
Because I think we're going to have an idea based on the presentation, based on communications with the staff, what is coming before us. So they can have an idea that, hey, this project's going to take longer than 10 minutes to present.
Yeah.
So I just think that's, so we don't want to bog something down needlessly.
Was
Yeah.
that,
So I,
was that in the
it's
select
just,
board, already
yes,
written? Yeah.
yes,
yes, it
yeah.
was.
I just think that should be more of the chairman. He controls the meeting. He knows what's coming and what isn't. He's gonna have an idea of what's gonna, what the project presentation is gonna be, especially if you get a big, I'm assuming, I wasn't there for the first one, but I'm assuming the 315, 317, 319 Treble Cove, the initial presentation was probably a longer presentation than, and probably would have needed 10 minutes. So if we get another one of those, I think at that point, 10 minutes, it's probably good to have the longer presentation and follow-ups. It is what
Yeah.
it is.
So I think that's a good point. So here's how I've changed it. Let me know what you think. In general, petitioners will be limited to a 10-minute presentation. However, initial presentations for many projects will require more time. Permission to speak for a longer period of time, again, can be granted, by the chairman. Or may be recommended, during agenda creation by the, with support from the planning staff or something like that.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, it's like Tony said, it's kind of tough. We have, we could have a project that, takes 20, 30 minutes for them to get through, the architect, the engineer, the developer, all these different people that are going to speak on it, the landscape architect, they've walked in teams of 6, 7 people, in the past. So yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, I mean, we
mean,
could just say, however, initial presentations, are given automatically given 30 minutes. We can say that.
Yeah.
and again, other people are gonna look at it and, Jane, we'd like the staff's thoughts on this. Not, I'm not asking you to come on, talk over the top of your head right now, but, we need to give it some deliberative thought. So why don't we say however initial presentations, for, mini projects or larger projects, you know, or just, or we don't even have to caveat it. We can just say initial projects, can have up to 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think a key thing is like you had mentioned, is trying to keep the document shorter. I think you can say the same thing probably. You can just say generally project presentations should take however many minutes. Just having that in the document that will let them know before they come in how long they should make the presentation. Sometimes they don't have like we have as much time as we need, so they just go on and on. And
Yeah.
if they truly need more than 15 minutes, they'll know that in advance that they're expected to have 15 minutes, and they can let us know. And then that way we can let the chair know, let the board know in advance. We can always also, when they submit their application, did
That was kind of my
my
point.
microphone just go out?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with Jane saying. That's kind of what I was trying to say. So, but I think it should be, I think my broader point was on this is that it says be granted by the majority vote of the board. I'd rather strike that and just leave it up to the chair to decide. He's the
Right.
one conducting the meeting.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. We talked about, okay. So I went backwards there. Okay. Setting the agenda. Okay. So, and we'll make this the last, section that we cover for this evening. Okay, it talks about, so the select board does something, sets it by, via date stamp. And so we don't use that. So I think we can just say, in the agenda, in the proper segment, and group, in a reasonable order. And just leave it like that.
Jane, do you typically create the agenda via how they come in during the month?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily. Yeah, I've typically, so what I normally do would be A&Rs, and then it would be the first that came in if we had multiple A&Rs in like the order that they came in, and
Yep.
then B2s generally in the order that they came in, and then anything that is like a special permit or site plan review would be next in the order that they came in, and then informal. That's kind of a new thing that we've been doing, but that is generally that's been after, and then moving on to other topics. So I don't look at the date stamp, but I know when I got them and I put them in that order.
So do you date stamp them when they come in?
Not so we do have one for the planning board, but usually I get them stamped in, but like right after by the town clerk. I don't generally sit on the applications unless I'm waiting
No,
for.
no, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just
Right.
curious
Oh,
when
yeah.
they come in, do
But
they
yeah.
get stamped?
Yeah,
So-
they get stamped in at the clerk's office when we receive the application. The only exception is, and it's not really an exception, for A&Rs and sometimes B2s, some of the lawyers will stamp it with the clerk before dropping it off, because the MGL says that that's the way that they can do it. So
Okay.
sometimes it comes stamped to us from the clerk, but yeah, generally we stamp it the same day.
Okay.
So I think that first sentence reads right then. It's agenda in the proper segment group and in the order they are received via date stamp. So I think that does cover exactly how Jane represented the agenda creation, that A&Rs are first, and then they're based on the order that they came in. B2s would be then, say, the second group of items, and they are based on the time that they come in, and then our regular applicants are based on the order that they came in. So I like that first sentence. It's consistent with what Jane just stated.
Okay.
Blake, as former chair, do you, any comment on that, or is that fine? It seems to be fine. At least it's orderly.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's fine. There's things that we have. So I guess where I'm coming from is, if we have an item that's raised by a board member, which I think that we should allow, there's some process here that we just need to make sure is known and then is followed. And so, but that we haven't addressed that. That's an ad that I want to make in this area later. So, because then we have this second paragraph: a request received up to 12 p.m. third business day, preceding a meeting shall be included. And so I think we need to put some thought into this. Again, I've stated a number of times, I really would like us to get our packets the Thursday or the Friday a week before the meeting, so that folks have 2 weekends to put appropriate time and effort into giving due diligence for the petitioners. But in this case, this is just when materials received less than 5 business days prior to the meeting may not be considered at the meeting and may require continuance due to insufficient time for board member review and due consideration. Materials may be posted to the planning board website. So that's just this will require some more time. So I think maybe.
So Blake, can I just ask for clarification? For example, a report comes in from the fire department at 4 o'clock of the day that we're having a meeting on a project that's on the agenda. You're saying that now that report cannot be discussed, and now we may have to continue that agenda item to the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to understand what you're okay.
Yeah.
So then that means our staff and the town employees need to understand that, hey, this is a significant change. We need this stuff, whatever it's going to be, 8-9 days before the meeting.
Well, yeah. I again, this is something that the board's going to have to sit down and talk to come to terms about. But what do what do the tension is a project petitioner wants to get quick and thorough response and not have their project unnecessarily delayed. But they also deserve a comprehensive, thorough review by the staff. So, getting a traffic study dropped on us the same day of a meeting is a little different than fire chief saying, "Yep, turning radius is fine."
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, the principle is that we should have materials well in advance, and that's what's a task from my point of view, an expectation of the planning department is there, and we see the email trail in the packages where the senior planner or the executive director are doing follow-up and reaching out to the department head saying, hey, we need inputs for these. And, if they're getting them to us late, why should we be forced to read something or check our email 14 times? That's an exaggeration. The day of a planning board meeting because something might drop on us that we need to review.
I agree, Blake. We've had you know, I mean, just recently we got our peer review for 315, 317, 319. Yeah, like we received that the day of our hearing. So we obviously said, well, we need to continue this hearing because we just got this. And
Right.
then in that
And sorry,
month,
but
they went back and forth twice, you know, like
Yeah.
they responded, then they responded, then they responded. So the continuance was well worth it there.
yeah.
So I
And,
definitely agree with the uh, value of the information and how technical it is. You know, like you said, fire department review, if it's, you know, them just saying we have no issue with this, you know, B2, or like you said, the truck radius, we've reviewed the truck radius and it's fine with the fire department. Those kind of things, not big deals, but when we have a third party review or additional information that just comes in from an applicant, right? They've done more work since, you know, they submitted their initial application. Uh, so there's definitely, I know these A&Rs and B2s, Jane, correct me if I'm wrong, they can be dropped in like A&Rs are like what, 48 hours before our meeting?
Yeah, yeah. So there's a little bit of flexibility in the law in that like we have to review it for completeness and we get a certain amount of time to do that. So we've tried to get them to bring it in like not after Wednesday the week before because we need to have time, but like that's kind of more like please, like I know you can, but like throw us a bone here. Don't just like inundate us on Monday morning with like 4 A&Rs.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, that one's tough. B2s, I have to double check. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think those are due the same time that like the application due date, which is a couple of weeks before. Now I can't remember off the top of my head of that either, but that's on the website. But yeah, the hard part is balancing, making sure that you have the information you need in a timely fashion so you can prep for it and not like holding up a project that doesn't necessarily need to be held up. And it depends on that's one of the, for me it's an art, not a science. You know when it happens that you need more time, but it's hard to predict.
Well, right. And so part of it is I want this document. I'm looking at this is someone who is considering a project, who, you know, would be able to take this document up, read it, and get some insight. And you know, but they have no control, nor do we. You know, with how long engineering takes, or how long a peer reviewer takes, or you know, but again, if a significant document comes in too late, you know, we you know, folks should understand that this is going to drive a continuance. We shouldn't be bound by Department X from taking too long to do a review.
So Blake, if I may, I'm going to drop another log on this fire here. So, and currently I work for Robert Half, currently placed in another municipality. So now we're going to have an ethics issue because technically I am not supposed to do one municipal's business while working for that other town. So if you drop an email on me at 2 in the afternoon, and because my phone is connected, because I have to use it to log on to Munis, I'm kind of in a gray area here, right? Of doing Borica business by looking at emails because all of a sudden we're preparing for a meeting. So that can be granted. I don't think anything's going to happen, but it is in the ethics law. I just know this because I just redid my training a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago. So
Well, and it's the same thing with folks at work. Mike's in the middle of doing an estimate, and a 25-page document comes out, and needs to be reviewed that day. You know, it's the board deserves better, the town deserves better. You know, and anyway, so this is one that you know we need to put some more time and thought to it. But I wanted to have this kind of conversation, and we'll have. I expect we will have a little bit longer conversation or further conversation on this. When this document is presented to the full board to take a look at. Anyway, so and again, it's good to have you on this as Jane as a the staff rep, so that we can strike an appropriate balance. And I think we would all be in violent agreement about what needs to be done. And again, this is no shot at all to the staff. Please don't take it that way.
No, and I'll expound on that, Blake. This document we're creating now is so that when all of us aren't around, there's people that know the processes and expectations, whether it be Blake, Mike, Tony, Ed, Evans, Chris, Marlies, Jane, and Kat, or it's 9 totally other people, right? So don't take anything we say, Jane, as to heart. This is more, planning for the future when us regulars aren't around.
No, I'm not taking. Don't worry about that.
And also on timelines, Blake, I agree we should have as much time with the information as possible, right? So if getting materials submitted by applicants for proper posting with the Lowell Sun and all of that jives with us being able to get our materials the Friday before the weekend before our meeting. Even if we get 75% of the information and it's not the B2s or the A&Rs, these big jobs, I agree, the stuff comes in, we should have it a full week ahead of time.
Yeah.
So, and then that would just be one I would go back and double check with the staff to make sure things that come in, they can then scan and copy and have prepared for us in a timely manner, right?
So I just like speaking from every month, generally. So stuff from applicants, unless it's moving, like stuff from applicants, generally we already have. If it's a project that's moving through, yeah, we might get something at the end of the week. The challenge is always getting the peer review back, not the peer review, the staff review back from engineering DPW. That's usually, or Concom. That stuff usually comes in on Friday. And a lot of times they need that extra. A lot of times it comes in at 4 o'clock on Friday. That doesn't come in at at noon. A lot of times I'll set up the packet stuff to do on Monday morning. So like I'm ready to go, but the packets, that being said, a lot of times I have close to 75% of the packet done weeks in advance.
Right. Yeah, so I think we can do something like that. We just got to balance our expectations with the staff and how they receive materials, and understanding that a continued project might get information that, like Jane said, comes in a little later than we would want. But setting an expectation for everyone is okay. It shouldn't be a like, oh, you're off the agenda if you don't get it in on time kind of thing. I don't want people to feel that way also.
So,
Right. Well, and
Mike,
that's
you're pretty
why
much saying. Oh,
no,
you're
what
pretty
we're
much-
saying is that it may require a continuance. Doesn't mean that we won't talk about some of the materials. It just may be that we can't talk about everything because we didn't get some of the documents in a timely manner. And that folks need to understand that materials that are delivered late are going to drive a follow-on meeting.
Mhm.
And it shouldn't be used tactically is a tactical delay method either, but I don't want to go into that kind of detail
Right.
in the document. So, all right, well, we'll stop at that section for now, and if we can find a way to do this a little quicker, that's fine. And what I'll do is take a look at some other items and some further expansion, and if needed, and we'll get a revised document out. I will say that I have a 2-week back-to-back vacation planned in August, and so I'm going to recommend that we not have our meeting on the um, uh,
The second
fourth.
Thursday, Blake? Is that what it is?
Yeah, we're gonna meet the second Thursday. We won't meet the fourth Thursday, is what I'm going to recommend.
Sounds good.
Okay. So anyway, anyone received any feedback at all from anyone?
No?
Okay. We had 2 action items. I barely got mine done, but the document is waiting, is over to you, Mike.
Yeah.
But there was an action item for you, Jane, and I just can't remember it off the top of my head.
So it was creating like a place on the website for so on our website for documents, and
Emails.
me is definitely a longer that's not a I got some information about that, but that's going to be above my pay grade.
Yeah. Okay.
Figuring that one out. But
Yeah.
let me just get to um,
Did we lose you, Jane?
no, my mic is cutting in and out for some weird reason. So I'm also having a hard time finding where this is because it's not published yet, and it is the live edit option is kind of funky because it only lets you do certain things once that's selected, but that's the only way I can actually see the thing that I saved. So I'm fighting with it. I'm fighting with it a little bit, but
Okay.
I do have it set up for here we go. Okay. Let me share the screen. So it's not published yet. I have the documents that you sent me. I haven't put them, I'm actually going to put them in reverse order than this. This is, I just entered everything as I had it. Members, I didn't know if you wanted to have, and we don't necessarily have to figure this out tonight, like what you wanted it to say the goals were. I wanted to have some sort of introduction, something it's not just this, explain what's going on, but I also didn't want to put words in your mouth. So I figure I'd ask it tonight, but this is what I have so far. It's not, we can add to it as necessary.
Okay. I think it's a great start. And I'll draft up some goals for you and get them to you before our next meeting.
Cool. Awesome.
Blake, was the other thing trying to get email addresses, the town email addresses?
Well, that is something I would like us to look at. I think that it's a broader issue, and I think it comes back to when we get the legal opinion. The legal opinion is that yes, it's legally defensible to have a collaborative workspace and allow multiple people to work on it at the same time without violating OML. If we get that positive thing back, then I think, in my mind, the next logical step would be then that we take a look at, getting whether the most prudent method to do this collaborative workspace is to then use the town, the town, some features associated with the town email address.
Okay.
Okay. All right, very good. Minutes. Anyone have any comments on the minutes?
No comments? Nope.
All right, I'll take a motion then to accept the
Motion
minute.
to approve as presented.
Second,
Very good. Any further discussion?
I have none.
All right, well, all in favor, Mr. Ventresca,
Aye.
Mr. Parker,
Aye.
and I am an aye. So very good. Minutes are approved. With that, unless there's anything else, I'll accept the motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn.
Second,
All right, very good. Mr. Parker,
aye.
Mr. Ventresca,
Aye.
and I am an aye. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Good work today. Thanks for your support, Jane.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.